this program. Welcome to Radio IITA Farmers Outreach in collaboration with the IITA Plantain and Banana Breeding Unit. I will welcome you, all our farmers, and of course, our facilitators here to the communication office of IITA. It's another round of Radio IITA Farmers Outreach where we train our farmers. It's a trainer of the Trainers Initiative where all our farmers that are trained also in turn train other farmers within their cooperatives and their communities. I say thank you for joining us again. Good morning, everyone. We'd like to acknowledge our leaders here at the communication office. Ms. Catherine Lopez is the head of the communication office. She's unavoidably absent here. Of course, we also acknowledge Ms. Dajiodok. She's the radio lead, Radio IITA. Please stand up for recognition, please. Yes, we'll also have all our facilitators from the Plantain and Banana Breeding Unit of IITA. We have Dr. Delphine. She's the team lead, Plantain Breeding. Yes, good morning. Yes, we also have Vish Banda, who will be joining us soon. Is the product manager, crop variety development. Yes, we also have with us this morning Dr. Moses. He's a plantain breeder here at IITA. Please, a round of applause, please. Yes, we also have Dr. Yao. Yes, he will also be joining us. We also have Mrs. Moyo. Sorry. Yes, she's also here with us. We also have Mr. Temi Tokpe, yes, from the same unit. Mr. Murphy as well. Yes, Mr. Murphy is here with us. So, yes, we'll do other introductions as other facilitators coming into this program this morning. Meanwhile, Ekabo, in Babawa, Tia, in Mamawa, see. All right, Mrs. Buki Bamishai. Oh, okay, all right. Okay, one of the facilitators has been said, Mrs. Buki Bamishai. Maybe she would. Oh, okay. Welcome, madam. Welcome, madam. Yes. Ẹ̀yin bàbá wa àti màmá wa ẹ káàbọ̀. Radio IITA Farmers Outreach ní dé lónìí. A dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ yín. A ti fún yín ní àwọn fọ́ọ̀mù kọ̀ọ̀kan pé kẹ́ fíìl ká lè mọ bẹ́ẹ̀ ṣe ní òye gbíngbin ọ̀gẹ̀dẹ̀ sí ẹ bá wa fíìl ẹ̀ tán. Tá bá parí ètò yìí, a tún máa mọ àwọn nǹkan tí ẹ ti kọ́ sí. So thank you. We've sent some forms out on our WhatsApp group, a post-test assessment for our farmers to know, test their knowledge of what they know now. And afterwards, we'll have another test assessment to know about what you've gained here today. Again, I say thank you for joining us this morning. We'll now invite Ms. Daji Odok, the radio lead, for a short remark this morning. Thank you. Round of applause, please. While we expect other farmers to join us shortly down their way.
Great farmers. Great farmers. No farmers. No what? No food. Yes, no food on the table. It's our pleasure to have you here today on the Farmers Outreach, the edition for plantain and banana farmers. And the essence of this outreach or training is to bring you face to face with the experts of the crops. These people are the experts. They live, they breathe, they eat, they drink banana and plantain and banana. So they know the latest technology to help you grow your banana. I know a lot of us, most of us here are first timers. You want to try, you want to go into plantain and banana farming. Some of us are old timers, but a lot of us have been doing this farming the wrong way, growing this crop the wrong way, and you've been experiencing losses. So the essence of this is to show you how to do it the better way, the best way, and using improved variety, how to manage your crop and ensure that you don't encounter or register a lot of losses in your farm. And permit me to use this opportunity to also introduce you. I'm sure you saw the video on the competition, the farmers competition. It's a competition that we thought to put up for farmers for each crop, for yam, cassava, maize, plantain, and banana. cowpea, soybean. We're going to select winner for each, farmer of the year for each of the crop. And the essence is to ensure that whatever you learn here, you implement it. You don't just go and hide it for yourself, keep it to yourself. This is a training of trainers. So we selected you to train you so you can go back to your community and train your family, train your friends, train your neighbors, impact the knowledge in them. And then we want you to record all of the processes, the training process, the planting process, the clearing of your farm and all of that. You record it, show us your face, and then post it in the group. Someone will be picking up those materials from there. Don't worry about whether or not we're seeing everything. So what you do is you ensure that when you're doing the training or when you're clearing your farm, you're preparing your farmland for the planting, throughout the entire process of maintaining your farm, ensure that you record it, not more than 1 minute. We just want to see at least 2 minutes, but show your face so that some other person will not pick up your work and your video or picture and share as their own work. So from there, we'll select the farmer of the year for plantain and banana, and we will reward you handsomely. So like I said, the instruction is going to be sent to the group to enter for the competition. So please, when we train you, go back and train others. You see, we have a lot of people, plantain and banana people in the group, but you were selected. We can't have everybody in your community come to our ITA. So we train you so you go back and impact others. Don't keep the knowledge to yourself alone. We're happy to have you, and we hope that you'd make judicious use of this opportunity and to your own benefits and the benefits of your community. Thank you very much again, one more time. And there's going to be a very slight change in the arrangement. I mean, they will explain to you more in the what's it called, planting materials. All right, they will explain to you more. There's no cause for alarm. So thank you again. And welcome to the Radio IITA Plantain and Banana Farmers Outreach.
Round of applause, a round of applause. Thank you, Mr. Giodog, Radio IITA lead. Yes, we'll now invite Dr. Delphine. She's the team lead plantain breeding here in IITA. Thank you for short remarks.
Good morning, everyone. Yeah, we are very happy to have you all come to IITA today. And we are happy to see you here because you are interested to know more about what you do, which is growing banana and plantain. So I'm here with my team. We have been working on plantain for a long time. So we are going to share all the knowledge we have with you, but we are very sure that we are also going to learn something from you, because learning is a two-way process. As we bring something, you also bring something, and then we put it all together and we see how we can make it better. So all of you have been growing plantain and banana, or just plantain? Have you been growing plantain and banana, or just plantain? Or you still want to start growing plantain? Ah, okay, great. Right, you have been doing it. Only you have been doing it. Who else has been doing it? Small scale. Okay, good. So we see that we already have a mixture here for people who have been doing it and people who have not been doing it. So I'm sure all of you are going to learn a lot. For those who have been doing it, where do you get your plantain seed?
From my colleagues.
Okay, great. Right, so it shows that you will learn a lot, because for you to have a good harvest, you have to start with what? Good seed. Yes. So I'm sure that my colleagues will talk to you a lot about all of that today. So here in IITA, we have a banana and plantain program. All we do is to teach our farmers how to grow their plantain better. We also have a breeding program where we produce new varieties, so that the varieties that you have will meet your needs. They will not have the pests and diseases that you have. They will be better than what you normally grow. So we do that here in IITA. All of that information we are going to share with you within the time that you are here. And we hope that when you go to your various communities, Like my colleague has said, you are going to be ambassadors and share the knowledge that you have so that others will learn from you. And as you have come here today, we will also follow up with you to see that what you have learned, you put it in practice, and whatever problems you have, we'll also be ready to solve it. Thank you very much.
A round of applause for Dr. Delphine. She's the team lead plantain breeding program here in IITA. In case you're just watching and joining us online, please pay attention. Our scientists are all here. You can feel free to also type your questions on that video. Our scientists here will answer all your questions. We have Vish Banda, yes, is the product manager, crop variety development here at IITA. We invite him for his short remarks, please. Thank you.
Hey, Caro. I'm trying. Okay. So how many of you in this room doesn't have a mobile phone? So everybody has it. Okay. 3 years back, how many of you didn't have mobile phone? You still had it. 10 years back, how many of you didn't have a mobile phone? You had it? Everybody. 10 years back. Okay, let's say 20 years back. How many of you didn't have mobile phone? Nobody. Okay, let's say 15 years back. So what has changed? Or are you having the same mobile phone that you are holding today 3 years back? Okay, so before another 3 years back, was it the same phone? No. So you see, things are changing. And what we are doing in IITA with regard to plantain or banana is we are also coming up with new technologies every 3 years or 4 years. So what the gathering today is more about what technological advances have happened in plantain on plantain breeding side, and we want to share those new technologies or new ways of growing plantains or new varieties that have come to the marketplace or new way of cleaning planting material. There are many different things that have happened in the past 3 to 4 years, and some of you will learn on why plantain is important in your own food security terms and why it is good to have plantain on your backyard, because those who haven't started plantain, and some of you have started growing plantain, you will get more experience on what new methods that have been developed by IITA team will be useful in maintaining your crop clean and get good harvest. So that's the take home message from today is there are new technologies and techniques that have been developed or under development, and there is so much progress has been made, and those techniques will be shared with you, and you will see them on field how that is working. So those knowledge and information, and you will have contacts of all the experts sitting here. So anytime you have an issue, you can reach out to them and follow up with them. I think with this, thank you.
Yes, a round of applause for Vish Banda, product manager for variety development here at IITA. Thank you for joining us. For our farmers who are just entering, we say thank you for joining us. If you are still on your way, please make haste. We're still here. It's a beautiful morning for Radio IITA. So in the meantime, while we call on Dr. Moses shortly, because we'll make everything snappy so that you can learn 18 or 2 before the second session. In orderly manner, a team from IIT Radio will touch your back so that we can take a tea break while we have Dr. Moses. Yes, Dr. Moses, you're here with us, please, for his presentation. Yes, thank you.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. I'm Moses Nyine. I'm here as a plantain breeder. How many of you have eaten plantain this morning? Oh, so You know, plantain is a crop that you can eat anytime. You wake up in the morning, you can eat it as a snack in the morning as you're having your breakfast. You can have it during lunchtime, and you can have it in the evening and any time of the day. So today, we are going to talk about things that you already know. Why is it very important for us to grow plantain? We know that plantain is very important for food security and nutrition. Plantain is rich in what we call provitamin A. Provitamin A is the one that makes our eyes see things much better. So whenever we eat plantains, we are helping our eyes to see much better. And Nigeria is one of the countries that grows a lot of plantains in Africa. So when we talk about plantains in Africa, in Nigeria is a big thing. And that's why we are gathered here today to talk about plantain production, plantain farming. So if we can just move to the next slide, I'll just give you a little bit of background. When you go to Europe and America, they call everything plantain. Why? Because plantain is very popular, even in those countries where they don't grow banana. The beauty about plantain is that you can make so many different products, because even when it is ripe, you can eat it as boiled or fried or in any other form. But in other parts of the world, you have other bananas, like in East Africa, you have the matoke. In Tanzania, you have the mshari. But our focus today is going to be on plantain. So if you can go to another slide. Yeah, so you see, when you look at the African map, right from East Africa, Central Africa, and West Africa, everyone is eating plantain. I come from Uganda. That is my home country. But my base is here in Nigeria, so I am at home. Okay? But what I see across all these countries, you find people roasting plantains on the roadside, selling to the travelers as snacks. That means, if you can go to the next slide, please. That means, as plantain farmers, you do a great job of ensuring that this important crop is actually available to so many people in different forms. And the way the farmers are linked to the end users or the consumers is through the small and medium enterprises. If you can click the button again. So you can be a farmer, but at the same time, you can also engage in the small and medium enterprise. That means you grow your plantain, process it into any of those products like chips, like dodo, which is my favorite, especially when it has some chili. I have learned to eat chili when I'm in Nigeria here. Oh, pepe. Dodo kile. Okay. Yeah, and you can also process flour, which increases the shelf life of your plantain and adds value to your product. So you see how great plantain is. The rest of the bananas that I've talked about, you harvest the green, cook it and eat. That is it. Once it ripens, you can't do anything with it. But with plantain, you are really having a great crop that you can utilize for different products. Can we continue? So as I have mentioned, when you look at the global statistics, Nigeria is here, is the top. And that's why the plantain breeding is here in Ibadan, in Nigeria, because the crop is very important to Nigerians and to the rest of the world. Okay, so consider yourself very lucky to be in this training, because the knowledge that we are going to get from here is going to even increase the production for Nigerians. What you should start thinking about is how to export the plantain, because that's where the money is. Okay, but still the local market demands a lot. Can we continue to the next slide? So my simple message today is that in order for us to get high yields in plantain farming, there are three major elements. One, we have to ensure that we practice good agronomic practices. We need to farm our plantains in a better way so that our fields can produce more. And then the other thing is we have to make sure that we use clean planting materials. And the third one is to use improved varieties. Once we complete that triangle, then obviously our plantations and our farms will be more productive, and the end goal will be more money in the pocket, more food on the table. Okay, so today, all these three elements that complete the triangle, which will ensure high yield, will be touched about. Okay, so any question about this? You can click the last slide. I have put here a statement. When you look at these markets, you see a lot of plantains, but these have been collected from several farms. But as one person, you can produce all these plantains on your farm. That's why I'm saying we can do better. Can we promise that after this training, we shall do better? That is great. All right. So any questions? Okay. I guess we are still here. And if you come up with any questions, please feel free to interact with the team. I will be coming back to talk to you about other things, but this was just an intro to get us into the mode of talking about the most cherished crop, plantain. Okay. Thank you so much for listening to me.
A round of applause again for Dr. Moses. Yes, he's a plantain breeder. A lot has been said about plantain this morning. Ẹ̀yin màmá wa àti ìyá wa, a máa túmọ̀ gbogbo eléyìí fún yín lórí WhatsApp dáadáa kó lè yé wa dáadáa. Thank you again, Dr. Moses, for your time. I will now invite Dr. Yao. I think he's represented by Mrs. Moyo this morning. Yes, for their presentation. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone, once again. Ẹ káàárọ̀ ẹ̀yin bàbá mi àti ẹ̀yin ìyá mi. So I am Olayele Moyosore, like he said. So I'm here representing Dr. Yao Columbia, who is unavoidably absent. So I'll be talking on the pests and diseases that affects plantain and banana. Please, the slide on Preston. Thank you. So like I said, I'll be talking on the pests and diseases and also how we can manage these pests and diseases that affect our plantain. Next slide, please. No problem. So, okay, thank you. So the next slide. So we have different constraints that, the major constraints that affect the production of plantain. Here we have the low soil fertility, we have the increased drought periods, and of course the pests and diseases that I will be talking about. And because of this, sorry, go back. And because of these constraints, plantain yield has been reduced by 30%. We are unable to achieve 100% of good yield because of these constraints. And also for banana, we are able to achieve 43% yield. The next slide, please. So talking about the pest and next one, the pest and disease of plantain. Here we have pictures of nematodes. This is one of the pests of plantain and banana. They look like worms, but they are organisms they are pests that we cannot see with our naked eyes. So they look like worms and they are present in the roots of plantain. And they can be as much as thousands, millions in the roots of plantain. So these nematodes, what do? They eat up the roots of plantain, in turn, making the plantain, our plantain, very weak. And even if they get to the stage of producing bunches, the bunches will not be attractive to farmers, to consumers. They will not be feeling one need to be dada. So this here is different. There are different nematodes that affect plantain. This one we have the burrowing nematode, which is Rhadopholus similis, and also here we have the Pratylencos, the root lesion nematodes. They after affecting the roots, they leave lesions on the roots. These terms, these big terms that I'm saying, you will understand better when you see these roots on the field. We'll show you the roots. Also, we have the spiral nematode, which is the Helicotylencos, and also the roots knot nematodes. They leave, after affecting the roots, they leave galls. You see galls, the roots, they are just bulging out on the roots of the plantain. And this nematode, they have caused a yield loss of 53% to plantain production. And also another pest is, next slide, please. Another pest is, okay, so this is like a picture of falling plants as a result of nematodes. So they eat up the root and then the root becomes weak. That is when, even before the plant gets big like this, you see them falling. You'll be like, what is wrong? Why are they falling? You think, you would think it is rain, you would think it's a natural occurrence, but no, something is happening down there. So we have plants, you can see this one is already carrying a bunch, and if as a farmer you have a bunch like this and it has not gotten to that stage that you want it to get to and it falls, it is a big loss. Next one, please. So you see the roots here, they are damaged by these nematodes that we're talking about. And another pest is next one, please. Another pest is banana weevil. These are insects. They are black and tiny. Look, if you see them here, they eat up the combs. These combs, they are the base of plantain. So how do they do this? They create toenails, as we can see here. I will also show you these on the field so you see them very well. They create toenails in the combs, eating through the combs. And when the combs is gone, the plant is weak. It will fall. And also they also eat up the pseudostem. This that part between the leaves and the roots, that long one, yes, they eat up the pseudostem. And as you can see here, these plants, they are rotting, falling at very young age. If you have this kind of plants on your field and you expect 100% yield, I'm so sorry, it is a big loss. So these pests, they cause, for this weevil now, they cause up to 100% yield loss. If you have infestation of weevil on your plantain farm, it is a 100% yield loss. So apart from these pests, we also have diseases like black sigatoka. This disease, they affect the leaves of plantain. Many a times you will not even know it is disease. You just see your leaves turning brown gradually. You see them turning brown. And if your leaves are not, if they are not green, they will not be able to photosynthesize. And if the leaves are gone, then the bunch will not receive enough sunlight for them to grow big. We have disease like black sigatoka, which is caused by Mycosphaerella fijiensis. We have another type, which is yellow sigatoka, caused by Mycosphaerella musicola. and also fusarium wilt. So if you have a bunch like this and you want to, even myself, I cannot buy this type of bunch in the market for a very high price, you understand? So our farmers, if we have losses like this, if we have diseases like this affecting our plantain, it is going to cause a big loss. So this disease has caused a yield loss of 20 to 50% on plantain production. So apart from the fungal disease, we have viral diseases too affecting plantain and banana. We have the banana streak, which is caused by banana streak virus. We have the banana mosaic caused by cucumber mosaic virus, and also banana bunchy top disease, which is usually common, caused by the banana bunchy top virus. Next one, please. So apart from the viral disease, we also have the bacterial disease, which is the bacterial wilts. When you see your plantain, you see that they are slimy. Ó dàbí pé omi fẹ́ máa jáde inú ẹ̀, ó ti bàjẹ́ látòkè bí kó bàjẹ́ láti àárín kó máa ṣe, tẹ́ bá tẹ̀ á ṣe mìṣìmìṣì. Ó ti bí kó máa jẹrà. They are bacteria. It's bacterial wilts, and it is caused by Xanthomonas carpentris. Excuse me. So also, how do we manage these pests and diseases? Báwo la ṣe lè kí àwọn kòkòrò yìí, báwo la ṣe lè bí ká lé wọn lọ pátápátá kó má sí lórí àwọn oko wa? So we have different methods. We have the cultural method. We have crop rotation. If you have a land and you keep on planting plantain, this year plantain, next year plantain, then the disease, the pests, they are still on that land. If you plant them next season, they will still affect your plants. You understand? So you practice crop rotation, you practice intercropping. You can intercrop your plantain with yam, with cassava, with maize, and also field sanitation. It is good for your field to be clean at all times. We have use of pest-resistant crop varieties and picking of pests and ant weeding. If you see any ants like this banana weevil, they can come out to play. If you see them, just pick them away from the plants. And also de-leaving. If you, like I said earlier, one of the diseases that affects banana, if you see that your leaves, the leaves of the plantain are turning brown, it is better to just remove them so that they don't transfer the organisms to maybe you introduce clean materials, they don't transfer these organisms to the clean materials. And also physical method, which is the seeds sanitation, the hot water treatments. When you get suckers that you want to plant, you can dip them in hot water to kill these pests and diseases. Also, we have different chemical methods, use of poisons, use of growth regulators, repellents. One of the common antifungal chemical that we use in plantain is mancozeb. This one, if you inoculate, if you spray them on the plant, it will reduce the effect of the organism that I mentioned earlier, which is the black sigatoka, which is a fungal organism. Also, we have biological control methods, the predators, like aphids also attack these plantain leaves. And if you introduce like ladybug will feed on the aphids that would cause diseases on pest and disease on your plants. Also parasites. Next one, please. So these are banana weevils that I talked about earlier. So this is an example of a parasite. So these weevil, we inoculated them with an entomopathogenic organism. So this organism, it colonized these weevils, these banana weevils, in turn killed these banana weevils and they could not grow anymore. So apart from that, we have engineered crops and also regulations, quarantines, importing and exporting plantain materials. If they are not being quarantined, if they have disease from one country, moving them into another country is going to cause a damage. And also we have sponsored eradication program. And also we can combine these methods to like combine cultural method. You clean your field, you remove dead leaves, you remove diseased leaves, you introduce predators. You can combine these different management protocols, these management practices to achieve good yield in your plantain. So I hope, okay, so these are, you can see this is spraying the suckers with a chemical. So when you combine these disease protocols, you can have good yield in your plantain farm. I hope by the time we get to the field, I will show you some of the big grammar that I've spoken earlier. You would understand better. Thank you for listening. If you have any question, please feel free to answer. Okay. Thank you.
I would like to know,
No problem.
ẹ̀bẹ̀ tí bá kọ́kọ́ bẹ̀ àwọn organizer program yìí ni pé gbogbo àwọn tẹ́ ń kọ́lẹ̀ yìí tẹ́ bá fẹ́ dá wa ń dè ní tòótọ́ pé kẹ́ ẹ fún wa ní handout, so inú mi á dùn gan because mo ti ń gbin plantain for over 15 years, mo dẹ̀ ní plantain tó pọ̀ gan, but èmi ò mọ̀ pé plantain ní disease. Gbogbo àwọn nǹkan tí ẹ ń sọ fún wa yẹn ó ń ṣẹlẹ̀ lóko mi. Ìgbà mi tátẹ́gùn bá fẹ́ àwọn ọ̀gẹ̀dẹ̀ mi lè wó lọ in thousands, but mo wá máa ń wò pé kí ló ń ṣẹlẹ̀. Gbogbo tá à ń sọ ni pé atẹ́gùn ni but ní ìsinmi tó wá mọ̀ pé àwọn kankan ló ń jẹ root ẹ̀ tó jẹ́ kó máa wó dànù. Mo ń gbọ́ yẹn for the first time here today. Now ẹ̀kejì ni pé àwọn kẹ́míkà tí ẹ̀ ń dárúkọ yẹn ó ti pẹ́ tí mo ti ń wá kẹ́míkà tí mo fi lè máa spray ọ̀gẹ̀dẹ̀ tí mi mọ bí mo ti lè rí. Àwọn tá a tún fi máa ń fin oko tí oko ọ̀gẹ̀dẹ̀ wa kún, ṣe pé kò ń ṣe tẹ́nìkan lè ro. Now tá a bá tún fi tán ó tún ń gé ọ̀gẹ̀dẹ̀ dànù, a máa gé dànù. So now kẹ́míkà tá a fi lè fin oko tí ó lè pa igbó tí kò ní pa ọ̀gẹ̀dẹ̀ wa, then ibi tá a ti lè máa rí rà, ẹ mọ èèyàn lè kùgìrì wọnú IIT téèyàn bá fẹ́ dáràn. So ẹ̀kan tí mo so bí a ṣe lè máa rí àwọn tó ń ta àwọn nǹkan yẹn lẹ́ẹ̀sẹ̀ ọ̀nà, àwọn náà lọ wú lóko ní dùndú àti ìròkò ni wọ́n wá pè lórúkọ IITA tá a fi rí pé product yìí gangan òun là ń rà. Ọlọ́run ràn yín lọ́wọ́.
Thank you very much, sir. Just before we proceed to just do a roundup, Mr. Murphy, please, would you have more questions? Yes, we'll do more questions. Ẹ bá wa túmọ̀ àwọn ẹ bá wa sọ díẹ̀ lára àwọn kan táwọn adánilẹ́kọ̀ọ́ wa ti sọ díẹ̀ lónìí, so that àwọn èèyàn lè béèrè question tí wọ́n fẹ́ béèrè. Ẹ kàn bá wa fún wa ní summary.
Ẹ káàárọ̀ gbogbo àyìn àgbẹ̀ o, àjíire bí o, ṣe dáadáa la bá yín. Gẹ́gẹ́ bí ètò yìí ti àwọn kókó tó wà nínú ètò yìí ni pé kí làwọn ọ̀nà tá a lè gbà láti ní àwọn àṣeyọrí lórí àwọn ìpèníjà tá a ti ní lórí ọ̀gbìn ọ̀gẹ̀dẹ̀. Kókó ni pé tẹ́ bá rí àwọn aṣáájú wa, àwọn ètò tá a ti kó pọ̀ ní a ti gbìyànjú láti ṣe àwọn iṣẹ́ tó pọ̀ láti rí àwọn ìdojúkọ tí àwọn àgbẹ̀ wa ní àdúgbò wa yìí tá a lè pè ní ilẹ̀ Yorùbá tá à ń là kọjá. Ìdí nìyẹn tí iléeṣẹ́ IITA fi rò pé ó ṣe dandan fún wa láti pe àwọn àgbẹ̀ tí wọ́n wẹ̀ mọ́, tí wọ́n dẹ̀ ṣe kíni, tí wọ́n tó gbangba jèrè. So nígbà tá a dẹ̀ ń ṣe àwọn atótónu wa, ẹ rí i pé gbogbo àwọn tí à ń gbé jáde ní ojú mọ́wòrán wa ó jẹ́ ká rí àwọn nǹkan tá a ti ń rí tí kò dẹ̀ yé wa àti àwọn ọ̀nà àbáyọ tí a lè là kọjá láti lè jẹ́ kí ó fúyẹ́ fún wa. Nígbà tí kan lára àwọn èèyàn mi tí wọ́n sọ̀rọ̀, wọ́n jẹ́ kó yé wa pé tá a bá lè ṣe dáadáa, ó yẹ ká lè ní èrè tó ṣe kíni tó gọbọi ju tá à ní nísìnyí lọ. Pẹ̀lú àwọn díẹ̀ tá a ti gbọ́ náà, ó yẹ ká lè mọ̀ wípé lóòtítọ́ tá a bá lè ṣe kíni, tá a bá lè ṣe dáadáa sí i, a lè ní èrè tó ju tá a ti ń ní lọ. Náà nígbà tí mo rántí tí ìbéèrè tí bàbá yìí ń béèrè lẹ́ẹ̀kan, ẹ̀ ń sọ pé àwọn orúkọ yẹn mọ̀ ìdí táwọn ọ̀gẹ̀dẹ̀ yẹn fi ń ṣubú kò yé yín. Gbogbo wa kàn gbà pé òjò ní àtàtẹ́gùn. Ó rí bẹ́ẹ̀ lóòótọ́ ní àwọn ibì kan, torí oko ọ̀gẹ̀dẹ̀ tó bá ti gbó ìdí ẹ̀ máa ń jáde sókè, atẹ́gùn lè gbé lulẹ̀. Ṣùgbọ́n àwọn ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ kì í ṣatẹ́gùn. Àwọn kòkòrò yìí gbogbo wa la sì máa ń rí wọn lórí oko, àwọn ló ń fà á. kí ló dẹ̀ máa ń fà á tó jẹ́ pé ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ wa inú mi dùn gbà tẹ́ ẹ̀ ń sọ̀rọ̀ pé ara àwọn tó ń tà lẹ́gbẹ̀ẹ́ títì tí wọ́n ń sọ lórúkọ IITA irú ẹ̀ ò lè ṣe kí ni kò lè ṣe kó má wáyé ṣùgbọ́n gẹ́gẹ́ bí àwa tí à ń ṣiṣẹ́ lórí ọ̀gẹ̀dẹ̀ oríṣiríṣi àwọn ìgbésẹ̀ láti gbé IITA dẹ̀ ti fi àwọn oríṣiríṣi ètò múlẹ̀ kódà bí mo ṣe ń bá yín sọ̀rọ̀ yìí àwọn iṣẹ́ kan ń lọ lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́ tó jẹ́ pé tó bá yá àwọn tó lè máa ta ohun ọ̀gbìn fún yín lórí ọ̀gẹ̀dẹ̀ gbogbo wọn gbọ́dọ̀ ti fi orúkọ sílẹ̀ tí wọ́n ó lè wẹ̀yìn rántí wípé ìkíní yìí o ìpìlẹ̀ wa láti IITA ni ó ti wá ṣé ó ti ń yé wa báyẹn kí la dẹ̀ ń gbìyànjú láti ṣe ni pé lẹ́yìn ìgbà tẹ́yìn náà bá rí àwọn nǹkan tí a lè kọ́ yín lónìí ẹ ó lè jáde láti kọ́ bí èèyàn bí 3, 4, 5 tí ẹ̀kọ́ yóò fi ṣe kíni tí ó fi kárí ilé tí ó dẹ̀ fi kárí oko ṣé ó ń yé wa báyìí náà kò sí ìgbésẹ̀ kí ìgbésẹ̀ tí ó bá a lè rí ó dùn mí pé ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ nínú wa ò tiẹ̀ múwèé dání láti lè kọ àwọn nǹkan tí à ń rí yìí torí àkókò òun ló fà á tí a ò lè fi máa ṣe àwọn ògùnfọ̀ eléyìí bá ti ń sọ Gẹ̀ẹ́sì eléyìí náà máa sọ Yorùbá tá a bá ní ká máa jù báyẹn àyè ó ṣe kí ni yóò lọ ṣùgbọ́n níparí ẹ̀ ni pé gbogbo ohun tí à ń sọ àwọn ọ̀nà àbáyọ àwọn ọ̀nà ìgbésẹ̀ tuntun tí è ṣe ti ẹ̀ṣẹ̀ǹbáyé tá a ṣe ń gbin ọ̀gẹ̀dẹ̀ irú bá ṣe ṣe tí ó fi lè dùn ún ṣe kí ni tí ó fi lè dùn ún ṣe dáadáa lórí àwọn ilẹ̀ wo gangan láti ẹ̀ lè gbin àwọn ọ̀gẹ̀dẹ̀ yìí sí àwọn wo gangan la lè tọ̀ tá a bá ní àwọn ìṣòro àti àwọn ìdojúkọ ara àwọn ìdí tí ìpàdé yìí fi ṣe kí ni tó fi ṣe pàtàkì nìyẹn bá a dẹ̀ ṣe ń tẹ̀síwájú ó dá mi lójú àwọn Gẹ̀ẹ́sì tẹ́ ẹ ti gbọ́ gbogbo ẹ̀ lẹ́ máa rí ní ojúkorojú tẹ́ ẹ dẹ̀ mọ̀ pé àwọn ẹ̀yà wa Gàmbàrí wọ́n ní Gẹ́níyà Fíjì ìròyìn kò tó àfojúbà lẹ́yìn ìpàdé yìí ó ń dá mi lójú gbogbo ohun tá a bá kọ yín gbogbo ẹ̀ pátápátá lẹ́ máa rí sójú so àti gbàgbé rẹ̀ yóò ṣe kí ni yóò nira ẹ kú sùúrù kẹsì máa bá wa lọ tá a bá ní ìbéèrè mo à fẹ́ gbọ́ ní ṣókí a lè tètè tẹ̀síwájú ká má bàa fa àkókò ní kínní.
ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ìbéèrè tí mo fẹ́ béèrè ó dàbẹ̀ pé ti dáhùn ìtì ọ̀nkú yẹn béèrè but níbi pé kí stem ọ̀gẹ̀dẹ̀ kó kàn ṣàdédé wó ẹ ti sọ ń pa ẹ but àwọn kan ń sọ wípé drought máa ń fà wípé ó bá di inú ẹ̀rùn pé ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ máa ń wó bẹ́ẹ̀ yẹn náà ìyẹn mo fẹ́ confam torí èmi ní backyard plantain so mo wò pé gbà míì ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ akandida kan wò tí ì ṣe inú òjò tí ì ṣe inú but mo wò pé ṣé lóòótọ́ ni àsìkò drought ṣé ó máa ń wó.
ẹ ṣe.
tó bá fọ́ ewo bẹ́yìn á lọ mú igi pé ká sọpọ́tẹ̀ a ní mọ̀ pé ṣe ló ti jẹ láti.
ẹ ṣe ẹ jèrè ṣe rí gbogbo àwọn àkíyèsí yìí ó dá mi lójú pé tá a bá ti dóko a ó máa rí wọn díẹ̀díẹ̀ lótìtọ́ drought táwọn olóyìnbó ń pè ní drought tí àwa mọ̀ gẹ́gẹ́ bí Yorùbá ní ọ̀dá omi ṣe rí èmi a máa béèrè lọ́pọ̀lọpọ̀ lọ́wọ́ àwọn àgbẹ̀ tí wọ́n bá ti ń ju àwọn ìbéèrè ìsinmi wípé téèyàn bá gbààwẹ̀ báwẹ̀ bá ti pẹ́ jù lára bó lára ṣe máa ń rí yóò wá fúyẹ́ lákòókò yẹn ẹni tó bá kọ ló ń tàn ó fẹ́ jẹ gbèsè ni àyè bẹ́ẹ̀ kọ́ so ìyẹn náà ìdojúkọ yẹn náà ní ọ̀gẹ̀dẹ̀ tẹ̀rọ ọ̀gẹ̀dẹ̀ bó ṣe wà ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ tí tó sọ ọ̀gẹ̀dẹ̀ dúró omi ni tá a bá dá ní ìdá kan sí 10 omi inú ọ̀gẹ̀dẹ̀ bí ìdá 7 ni bẹ́ẹ̀ ni tẹ́ ẹ bá fa gbogbo omi yẹn kúrò ńbẹ̀ ẹ ó retí gbogbo ẹ ó di kò ní dàbí ẹbí aṣọ tàbí bí kíní tí wọ́n fi ń fọ abọ́ kàìnkàìn so ìdí nìyẹn tí àwọn ìgbésẹ̀ tí àwọn olóyìnbó ń pè ní irrigation pé ká máa wá omi tì lẹ́gbẹ̀ẹ́ tá a bá fẹ́ rí ní àṣeyọrí lọ́pọ̀lọpọ̀ lórí ọ̀gbìn ọ̀gẹ̀dẹ̀ ó ti yé wa ń sìn ṣùgbọ́n ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ọ̀nù wa máa ń wò pé àti dá sílẹ̀ àti lọ ṣe irrigation owó ẹ̀ máa ń pọ̀ ṣùgbọ́n ẹ má jẹ́ n tàn yín kò sí bí ẹ ṣe ṣe tí ò ní rọrùn Ọlọ́run yóò ràn wá lọ́wọ́ á sì láṣeyọrí mo dúpẹ́.
Dúpẹ́, thank you, round of applause. Ẹ má gbàgbé gbogbo àwọn ìbéèrè tẹ́ ní a máa lọ sí ibi tí a ti máa béèrè ìbéèrè tó pọ̀ dáadáa. Please, if you have more questions, we'll still have time when we go to the field to see some of these things by ourselves, and we can ask more questions at that time. But quickly, Ms. Mush, you're sorry, a question was asked just now. Please briefly, has it been answered? Oh, okay. So thank you very much. So we'll call Dr. Delphine, yes, for presentation. Yes, thank you. Round of applause. Yes. Slide.
Okay, sorry, I don't know how to speak Yoruba, but I'm sure that you understand me, right? Yes. Anything I say. Not this one, the other one, right? The other presentation, please, about what we do in IITA for breeding. So those of you who grow plantain, just tell me, what is your biggest problem with growing plantain?
My plantain, you see them, they fall, a lot of them at times, and many of them, they will not bring out normal fruit. You see them very tiny.
Take the question again, sir. Again, take the question again.
Okay, the question again. Yeah.
Start again. So it's not, I'm the one asking the question. For those who grow plantain, I just want to know their biggest problem.
Well, my own biggest problem is this. My plantain, at times you see them, small breeze, they will fall. Like there was a day about 120. Another problem is that you see them, there are some of them, they will look tiny. They will not be as robust as I expect. Then another problem is I want to know a certain fertilizer I can use.
Thank you. Yes.
Great farmer. Great farmer. Thank you. My experience problem from planting farm is that when that seed is coming out, that's one like look like a corn seed that's bringing out the plantain seed. As I thought that after it's open, that will be growing, but I can see that it just drop. What is happened? So it has happened, it has occurred about 2 or 3 times. That's number one problem. Number two, when I thought that this seed will be big, it just look like small. Why is it all this problem? Then number three, that's falling problem we are even we thought that maybe it's a heavily rain or that big wind that's causing it. Thank you.
Right. Thank you very much. The reason I asked that question is for us to understand why we are here in IITA, to be able to solve those problems that you have through improving the crop, through improving plantain. Right. So my colleague talked about combining good agronomic practices, that is you managing your plantain farm well, using clean planting material. I said good seed, good harvest, and then using improved varieties. That those are the 3 things that you can combine together to have a better yield. Next slide, please. So I know you'll be going to the field. When she was talking, she talked about seed. She talked about flower and something. When you go to the field, the first thing that I would like my colleagues to do is to tell you the parts of a plantain or a banana plant, because you need to understand that. You need to know where you get your sucker, how you get your sucker, what is the fruit, what is the flower, what is the leaf, what is the stem, how does the sucker come. Those are basic information which is very useful if you want to grow plantain well. So in general, there are 3 types of plantain, right? They classify them according to the size of the fruit that the plantain will give and the number of fruit on the bunch. The one that has big bunch, they call it the French plantain because it has fruits, which is the female flower, and then it has some neutral flowers, then it has the purple head, which is what the male flower is. I will let, when you go to the field, Murphy will talk more about this one because he will tell you according to the way you call the different types of varieties here. Then you have this one, which is called the false horn. It has bigger fruits. Horn comes from like the horn of the cow, eh? You know, the plantain that's big is like the horn of the cow. So you have the false horn, which has bigger fruit. It doesn't have the purple head. I'm sure all of you will relate with this one because this is what is plenty in the Nigerian market. But this is the one that they mostly use to make chips. Then now you have this other one, which is the horn that has the biggest fruit. It normally gives you only like one cluster, like that. Some of those ones are also in the market, but they are not the one that most farmers will grow because those will not fetch a lot of money because the yield of that one is small. So here in ITA, we have so many different types of those plantain, right? What we do is we are trying to come up with new and better variety. So we use these ones, which normally have problems like all the problems you have mentioned, the diseases. We try to see how we can cross them with better one, and then we will check what we get from the crosses to select what we can give out as a new variety. So Moyo already told you about the different diseases. For us to be able to improve something, we have to know what the problem is that we are trying to improve. So the problem is all those diseases that Moyo has shown. And I want to point out, especially to this particular disease they call banana bunchy top disease, because it's already coming to Nigeria from Benin, on the Benin border. I think they call that place Idilogun or something. This virus is already there. So all of you who grow plantain, you have to be watching very carefully. If ever you see something like this, it will make the plantain or the banana will just be coming out like flour. You can just report to us in ITA about that. And when you see something like this, don't collect seed from it ever. Because if you do now, you'll be taking the disease to another location. So it's very important for you to know that. So all these problems are what inform us to select, to see what we want to bring to ITA. Here in ITA, we have so many thousands of different types of plantain and banana that we bring. Some we bring it for particular use because it has resistance to some of the disease. Some we bring it because they are short. You said their plantain were falling, right? One of the reasons is that it's infected, but another reason can be that it's too tall. Another reason can be that the root system is not well developed because you are not fertilizing it very well. There are so many reasons why they will be falling. So we are trying to work on all of that so that we get more robust, big plantain that you can plant and harvest. Yeah. So this is what we do here every day. My colleagues will show you in the field. So this is like the normal plantain that we grow here, the agwagwa and all the others. We will use it as a parent. We will cross it with another parent that comes from somewhere else that has good quality that we want. When we cross it, every day somebody has to go and climb a ladder like that, take one parent and go and cross it with another parent, and then they get seed. I know the plantain you normally eat, you don't see seed inside, but my colleagues will show you what a plantain seed look like. We use that one in the breeding program because those seed that we get is what we are going to grow. So this is the big work that we do here every day so that we can get a new variety. And for us to get a new variety for plantain, it can take more than 10 years. Yeah. It's not like maize that you plant maize and then you just get seed because you have to cross several times to join different characteristics into one so that you can now give it as a new variety. So this is how seed for plantain and banana look like. Some of you who are used to those wild ones growing in the farm, maybe you have seen it sometime. Because normally the ones that we eat are not fertile, they don't produce seed. But the ones that are wild, they can produce seed. So once we make those crosses, then we can have a good hybrid and we will always have it like a plant like that in a bag because we will multiply it in the lab to get many. Next slide. So these improved varieties, why are we saying they are improved? Because now they have resistance to those diseases that you have mentioned. They have high yield. They will not require too much input because they are already robust. And so your field now can be longer, and then you would have more money for the area that you want to plant. Next. So in IITA, we have our Genetic Resources Center. They are the ones who normally give out plantain variety if someone wants to request, because I know sometimes some of you have heard that we have so many plantain here. The next question will be, how can you get plantain? Yes, if you ask for plantain, there is a protocol that we will follow, and then we'll give you so that you can go and plant in your farm. I want to also point out here that some of you know NIHOT already, right? ITA as a breeding program, we collaborate very strongly with NIHOT. So most of the varieties that we produce here, our colleagues in NIHOT have. So you can also get plantain variety from NIHOT, which comes from ITA, because we work hand in hand. So in addition to producing new varieties, we also produce seed for those new varieties, and we train you all how to produce good seed. Some of you grow plantain, most of you grow plantain to sell bunches, Abby. But there are others who just produce plantain seed and sell. That's also a business. I don't know if any of you here does that, but I know people out there who does that, just producing high quality plantain seed and sell. And why should you do that? Right now, most of you who are growing plantain, if I ask you which variety are you growing, can you tell me? Aha. You see, you don't even know. And if we are looking at, my colleague talked about export. If you want to export something, you want to know what you're exporting, right? And you want to grow the same thing and export. But here in Nigeria, when we go and see that big heap of plantain that the tipper or the trucks have put by the roadside, those of us who know plantain will see at least 5 different varieties inside there. But if I'm a processor now, I'm producing, say, chips, I'm producing flour, and I want to buy plantain, I want to have uniform, the same variety, that the color inside will be the same for me to produce chip and export. So it will be difficult for me to go and buy like that. So that's why those of you who are here, you should be good examples. You select a particular variety, grow one variety, so that if somebody is coming to buy, to go and process, they know what they are buying. So that's something that is very important that we need to change here in Nigeria. Another thing that we need to change here in Nigeria is that we've noticed that many people just go and put their plantain in the farm and then they go. How many of you here manage plantain the way you manage yam?
No.
Aha.
We don't do it.
Aha.
I'll come to you have to come up with the harvest.
Let my colleague here in Uganda tell you how they manage their banana in Uganda. So there is a big difference between the yield in Uganda for that banana and the yield here in plantain. And I see the reason is that in Nigeria, you do not attach too much importance in plantain. Meanwhile, if you take 1 hectare, you plant yam or cassava, you take 1 hectare, you plant plantain. All of you tell me here, which one will fetch you more money? So why are we not using it? And we want money. Abi, we don't want money. So, okay. So this is to tell you that plantain is a very high value crop. Let's not take it like small something. It's high value, but you must put in before you get out. You cannot just put it in the field and leave it there and it will be growing like some wild herb and then you think you'll be getting some fine things. So when you live here, you will go to our fields, you'll see the way we manage plantain here, you will see the type of bunches that we have. Then you know that it's different from what you have. So if you want to think export and how to take this agriculture in Nigeria to the next level, then you have to change your mindset on how you grow plantain. So I'm hoping that all of you here will be ambassadors to take that to the other farmers. And we are always there to help you. We are always there to help you. Okay, I think I'll just continue on the next one. So here in ITA, we also work a lot on good seed production, good quality seed production. Because if you want to talk about agriculture, you must start with what? The seed. The most important input for agriculture is the seed. Even if you have fertilizer, you cannot plant fertilizer. You can plant seed. So in ITA, we pay attention to how can we produce high quality seed better? And how can we empower the people who produce seed out there so that they can produce seed? So that if any of you, those of you who say you want to start growing plantain, do you know where to get seed? But do some of you here grow maize? Do you know where to get seed? Exactly. So you see that there's a gap there. If you want to grow maize, you know where to get seed. But if you want to grow plantain, you don't know where to get seed. And the reason is simple. We don't have many people who are producing plantain seed. So the assignment I'm going to give all of you here, any of you who want to grow plantain seed from now henceforth as a business, we will be ready to support you. So that once you grow it, then other people can be coming to buy. Here in ITA, so many people call us every day. We want seed to plant this. People call us even from the UK. Those people who have gone out there and they say, no, they want to come back to Africa and do agriculture. They call us to say, we want seed to go and start farm. But who are those producing seed? We are a research institution. What we do is we do research, develop new technology. We don't do the role of producing seed, but we like to train people so that they can be doing that. Okay, so when we talk about seed for plantain, basically, we are meaning what can you plant? And in this case, it is the sucker, right? My colleagues will show you different types of sucker because there's a whole lesson about sucker. There are different types of sucker, and depending on the age, the right one for you to collect to plant. So it's not anything that you collect to plant, too. Because if you plant anything, you also harvest anything. Exactly. Garbage. Yes, thank you. Garbage in, garbage out. So look at, these are different types of seed, in quotes, or we say the term we use for this vegetative crop is the planting material. These are different types of planting material. This type of planting material like this will come from a lab, a tissue culture lab. These ones come from the field. This is what you are all used to. If you want to buy sucker, you will see so many things like this, right? But because they are like this, my colleague here has explained to you different type of diseases. You know how you peel yam? That's the way you peel that stem for the sucker, right? The right word is the rhizome. So it's the underground stem. So that's the way you peel it before you even know whether it is clean or it's not clean. So if you look at this picture here, what do you see? Yes, good. This is the larva of weevil that is burrowing inside. Now, one of these suckers here can be like this. Will you know? So that's the disadvantage of just buying sucker by the roadside or going to collect sucker in the farmer field, because most of it will be like this. It already has disease. Now, this one also has what she showed you called nematodes. Yeah? Yes, those ones which are like worm, which are already in the roots. If you go and plant it, the roots are already weak. The smallest wind, they will just fall, whether they are carrying bunch or not. Now, this one, what can you tell me about it? Good. So the small message that I can pass you with all of this is that a simple activity of just cleaning your sucker can go a long way to make you have a clean sucker to start planting. Because if you clean it like that, you see that it is clean. This is a type of planting material, I would say the highest quality because it has been produced with all great care. But this is also a high quality planting material because it came from a clean field. So you who is running your own field and producing your own seed, if you are harvesting your sucker from your field, you have to make sure that it's like that before you plant it. Then you know that you will have a good bunch because that material has come without at least this weevil or nematode that you can see. But there are other diseases that you cannot see. For example, viruses. That one is only the laboratory that can test. So I'm going to talk to you about different ways of producing seed. I will just explain briefly. But when my colleagues take you in the field, they will show you in practical terms. Those of you who are quick to learn, I'm sure when you live here, you will go and start looking for sucker to practice it immediately because it's something that's simple. You can do it even in your backyard. So normally, you have the plantain field like this is producing suckers. Normally, inside 1 year, you can have just 5 to 10. Right? Am I wrong? For those who are growing plantain. So if you want to plant, say 1 hectare, You need like 1,667 if you are doing the normal spacing. Where are you going to get that? That's why some people have to be producing seed to sell. Because if you just go to the farm, it's difficult for you to get that number. So now, this is the conventional way. This is the normal way that you get sucker. But if you want to now make it faster, you can do decapitation. You can just cut it back. It's like when you cut the main stem, then the side shoots will grow, right? So I'm sure some of you are already practicing this, but I'm sure some of you say, no way, I cannot cut my banana or my plantain when it has not given me bunch. That's why you, in your head, if you are producing seed, then you can do that. But if you want to produce just bunch, then it's tricky. If you want to produce both seed and bunch, we can train you how to do that, to manage. Because each time you have so many suckers, you can manage your field in a convenient way that you get both bunch and you get seed. Because normally they will produce several suckers. You can maintain some and then destroy some. So that's one technique. Then another technique is macro propagation. Some people call it comb techniques because this stem, underground stem, which I gave you the biological name, the rhizome, is also called a comb. So as you see the banana or plantain growing like that, what you see up is not the true stem. The true stem is the small thing that is underground. And that's where the new suckers and the new planting material come from. So in this technology, they will show you practically when you go out of here. You harvest your suckers, you clean them the way to make sure that they don't have disease. And then you cut the growing point technically. Then you put them inside humidity chamber, which can easily be constructed. My colleagues will show you. And once you put them in, you can get sprouts. You can imagine that this is one comb. When it sprouts like that, it can even give you up to 100. If you put it under normal condition, it can give you up to 100, but it's not all that will do that. So you can have 20 to 100, depending on how you cut, depending on the environment, depending on how it responds. So you can see that there is business right there. If you just decide to be taking clean comb, you grow it, you manage, put your plants, manage it well, you can be selling. Now, what is the advantage of this? You can have, you see those suckers on the first slide, they are at different ages. Some are small, some are big. How many of you, when you plant your farm, you go to harvest, you see some bunch is ready, another bunch is not ready?
Yes.
Is that good for business? Right. So that's the advantage of all this technology. Once you have the plants like that in pots, they are the same age. You can decide that, let me plant this one now because I want to harvest it after X months. Let me plant this one after that. Then you know that you harvest at the same time. That gives you uniform harvest, which you can never, ever get with sucker because you cannot know age of sucker. Right. And then these ones also, because you have put them inside pot and soil, that's you are pampering them. They are under good condition. They will establish faster and better than sucker. So those are the advantages. And when they establish faster and better, what do they give you? Higher yield. Higher yield because they are clean, no disease, because also they are establishing faster. Next slide. This one now is tissue culture. I would say it's a high-end technology because you need a laboratory to do that. So as of now, mostly this is done in a research institution, but there are also few private individuals who have laboratory who also produce plants like this. So the same thing you use is the same sucker that you put in the macro propagator. You will now peel it and remove the heart, which has the growing point, put it inside glass vessels, and then you grow it. After some time, you start getting plants like that. Buki, you brought some plants in tubes here. You can show them around. So for us, when we produce new hybrid that come from one small seed, this is the way we will now clone it to have many that we can distribute it. Or if, let's say we go to Brazil, we see some very nice plantain in Brazil or in Colombia, it will come to us like that inside tube. We can bring only 5 tubes. But after about 1 year, we can have so many thousand that we can go about evaluating here in Nigeria. So that's how that one is important. For those who produce it in the labs, they sell it and people buy. I know some farmers will be like, oh, that one is very small. How can we plant it? How can it survive? But with good training, you can do that. You can plant that and then it will survive with the advantage that that one is also clean. So remember I told you that there are some diseases that you cannot see with the eye, like the virus. Once you go through tissue culture and then you combine it with laboratory tests, you can be sure that no virus. So this one is the cleanest form of planting material that you can get. So in summary, these are all the methods that you can produce clean seed. So I will end here and then my colleagues will show you more about the practicals. But to show me that you have been listening, somebody should ask at least one question.
Well done, ma.
Thank you.
Like I love to go into that seed production. Do we come here? And when should?
Okay.
I should register now.
Good question. We will take note of that because we work on this seed production with our colleagues at NIHOD. We are going to take your number and your location, and then we can contact you and see how we can help you. Thank you.
Well done, madam. You are taking me to another realm entirely now with all this. Are you telling me this plantain? Then we need more training. I'm telling you. Well, I will register if there's any school that we can learn more because this is what I do, but I don't know what I'm doing since all this.
Thank you very much. As you can see, you know the name Agwagwa, right? As you can see, read here. Yes. So this is Agwagwa plantain. So we are trying to multiply the way we showed you.
Thank you, brother. We really appreciate. The brand you give to us now, sample, is the one you bringing much money. This Agbagba is one bringing much money like the other than the other small one. But now farm, we have very good river, very close to the farm. So if you plant it, it will yield a lot of money for us. So I really appreciate because we believe in cocoa before. We have a large farm for cocoa, but we still have a banana that are planted there. But with this sample you give to us now, I can see that because this Agbagba is the one bringing most money than that small one. So we have really appreciate. And here that Agbagba is commonly used. Even if it's not ripe, people used to take it. And you can use it for amala. You can use it for dodo. Just the use of Agbagba goes to about 5 weeks than the ordinary ones. So this Agbagba you gave us, you show the samples now, bring us money, in which people will be interested in planting it so that I can get more money. So we appreciate.
Thank you very much. Oh, I'm very happy that everybody was listening to me. So I don't need anybody to translate.
We are here to learn and we are going to listen and take something home. Now, I want to appreciate the team and the IITA for this training. I'm happy and I want to also plead that we have slides so that I can take home for proper dissemination to the grassroots, particularly me and my family. Presently, I have a daughter. Yes, presently I have a daughter who is reading crop production and protection. Our interest has been messy, and I told her, come, you have been opportuned to have gained admission to OAU for this crop production and protection. I am going to accept there. Only that if you are ready to learn, and it's already in part 3. So I will appreciate if you can have slides so that we can take it home for people like that. Thank you.
Good question.
Right. Thank you very much. We will share all the slides, but I also want to let you all know that inside on the IITA website, We have all materials that we disseminate in ITA for all our crops, including plantain and banana. Also, because we now have your contacts, if by any chance we are doing training, be it us or be it with our colleagues in NIHOT, we would be reaching out to those who are interested.
Good day, ma'am. The other time she was actually talking about the soccer, that you soak it inside hot water, and I need more explanation on that. And you also talked about the peeling of the soccer. To what extent are we going to peel it to be able to get a good? Thank you very much.
Very good question. Thank you very much. So I've just explained this orally, but most of this will make a lot of sense when my colleagues do it in the farm. Murphy, take note. So she would want to know about what extent you will par the sucker. He will do that. He will harvest a sucker when you people go there. He will peel it in front of you, and so you will see. I'm not sure we plan to do hot water treatment today, but I think we have information about the technology among all the information that we have also on the website as well. Yeah, because hot water will kill those nematodes if they are there. So you just dip it temporarily and remove it, because if you keep it for a long time in the hot water, you will also cook the sucker. And it's not yam, Abi. Oh, ITA website. So our communication team will help you, guide you guys on that. Yeah.
All right, a round of applause for Dr. Delphine, please. Thank you. We're gradually coming to the end of the first session. We'll proceed to the second session shortly, but in the meantime, we'll call Mr. Temi Tokpe, also from the Plantain and Banana Breeding Program, for his short presentation. Meanwhile, we'll be calling each and everyone for tea break shortly. Yes, please. Thank you.
So, good morning, everybody. I hope you have enjoyed the teaching so far. Okay. So, shortly, we'll be moving to the field, but we just want to go through the last set of slides. This is where the business is proper now, how we are going to manage our fields. So, let's wait for them to put up the slides. So our experience with farmers or people growing plantain outside is that most people just grow it at their backyard, or even when people decide to go to the farm, maybe to establish a plantain farm, they don't really take care of them, or they don't know how to take care of them. So part of what we'll be discussing here are those things that we are supposed to do, those management practices that we're supposed to give to our farm to get the best out of them. Are we set? Yeah. So we're talking about good agricultural practices. So you can look at the picture there on the slide. Do we like what we see? Yeah, so this is what we are preaching. I want you to take note of some things. You can see the fields are clean. You can see the plants are uniform. And you can see that the way it is arranged, you can easily do any kind of management on your farm. So can we go to the next slide? So I'll be going through some points that we need to take note when managing our fields. But the first thing that we need to know, which my colleagues have also been hammering on, is the choice of planting material. It is very, very important. Your production can only be as good as the material that you are planting. Now, what do I mean? If you grow a bad material that is not good, no matter all the management, no matter your fertilizer, no matter your irrigation, it's going to be a waste, because what you started with is what is bad. So this is like the single most important thing. You have to make sure that you get the right materials for planting. And what are the reasons? You can see, no, go up. Now, you can see This is what we are familiar with. The suckers, we call them suckers. My colleagues have talked about them. Now, what we are saying is that when you use these things, they contain a lot of pests and diseases. And then when you move them to new farms, you're also moving those pests and diseases. So when you plant them, you find out that your farms are not doing well. You might not even have any production in the first year. Or if you have a production in your first year, your farm might not even last for more than 2 years. You start finding out that your productivity has reduced. Under normal conditions, when you start with good materials, you can have active production for 5 years or more. So this is the reason why. So some people don't want to incur the initial cost of getting clean planting materials because they might say, it's expensive to buy. But the truth is, if you look at it on the long run, you buy something that can produce for 6 years, or you buy something cheap that will produce for 1 year. Another thing is the uniformity, which my colleague talked about. You can see what you have there. The plants are uniform. When you grow them, for the improved materials or the clean planting materials, you are able to harvest at least up to 70% around the same time. So if you take 70% of your harvest to the market, you can get good money for it. Unlike when you are taking 2 bunches, 1 bunch, this affects your planning. So the message here is we have to take this seriously, the choice of planting material. Second slide, please. Now, fertility management. This is another area. We said our fathers and mothers just put plantain at the backyard. Whenever it produces for you, you go and cut it and harvest it. But the truth is, some of us don't really take care of those plants. And what do we mean by taking care of? We need to give them food. It's a living thing. It needs nourishment. So we need to feed them so that they can give us the best. We're all familiar with other, maybe poultry. If you have a poultry farm and you don't feed your hens, what happens? They don't produce and they die, isn't it? The same thing applies to planting of any crop, especially plantain. You have to feed them. And how do we feed them? We talk about manure. It can be from poultry or cow dung or even your household waste. Or you can go the way of inorganic fertilizers like your NPK. You have many of them, or a combination of the two, depending on the resources that are available to you. And then here we try to say that, okay, maybe every 3 to 4 months, try to apply fertility to your farm. Maybe you can do it routinely every 3 to 4 months. And in terms of what you need to apply, we're saying for the inorganic fertilizers, you can do maybe between 120 and 240 grams. Depends on how fertile your soil is. And then for manure, between 5 and 8 kg per plant. Next slide, please. So another important issue is crop spacing. Crop spacing is just how you arrange your plants on your farm. Now, your farm size is fixed, right? You don't want to put in too many crops or too many plants in that farm. What will happen? It will affect the productivity. Another thing is you don't want to put in too few plants. Maybe you have an hectare. An hectare normally is supposed to take about 1,600 plants. And then you are putting 1,000 plants in an hectare. You see that you're already operating at a loss. Underutilized, thank you. Or a farm where you're supposed to put 1,600 and you're putting 3,000 plants. You will not get anything from such a farm. So spacing and arrangement is very important. And we have tried to, what we are saying is you can do between, that's 2 meter by 2.5, that's intra-row and inter-row spacing, or 2 by 3 meter spacing, that's inter-row, and that's between plants and within plants. Next slide, please. Yes, so weed management. We are all very familiar with weeds. We don't want weeds on our farm. So this is very important because these weeds, they cause a nuisance to the farm. One thing is you might not even be able to walk within your farm because there's a lot of disturbance. And then these weeds, they are also plants. They are also feeding. So whatever you are giving to your plantain, they are taking part of it, meaning that you are feeding them. So whatever is supposed to be going to your plantain is going to the weeds. So you are supposed to remove this. And how can you remove it? You can do your manual weeding. You can do your chemical control by spraying with herbicides. And then you can just do your hand pulling. And another thing we always try to advise is that you dress appropriately. You know, these are chemicals. You don't want it to get into parts of your body or you inhale it. This is what causes sickness. We don't want our farmers to be dying because maybe they are farmers. So you have to, these things are not expensive. You can just get them and wear them to protect your body. We say health is wealth. So let's go to the next slide. Yeah, so mulching. Now, what do we mean by mulching? It's just covering the soil with plant materials. This is very important because, and it's especially important in the dry season when you don't have much rains. Now, what does this mulch do for you? It helps you to, it improves the penetration of water. Maybe those times where you have few rains, the single rain that you get, you are able to improve the penetration into the soil. And then once you improve the penetration into the soil, you also improve how long it's going to stay in the soil, thereby making the water available for the plant for a longer period. And then these are plant materials. When they deteriorate, they also improve the organic matter that is available to the plant. So during your dry season, if you have something like this, you'll see that your plants are not really going through stress because there's still water. Water that would have evaporated normally is still being kept in the soil. Next slide. So staking or propping. I'm happy that we already talked about plants that are falling down. And one mama said you can get a stick to support. Yes. So we're happy that you already know about this. So there are different factors that can cause your plants to fall down. But one of the important things is this can come from your wind. Because the nature of the plantain plant is once it grows, the bunches can be heavy, especially when you have managed your field properly. The bunches can be heavy and then can cause breakage to your plant. So it's always good to support the plant with an external material. You can see here that we have a bamboo that is tied to support this plant carrying the bunch. So in this way, when the wind blows, you still have an external support that can keep our plants standing. If you don't have access to bamboo, you can always cut maybe trees, agumaniye, exactly. Some of these trees, branches from the forest and use it to support your plants. So next slide. Yeah, so irrigation. The reason why we encourage farmers to get irrigation, plantain is a permanent crop, meaning that it grows throughout the year. Yes, so in the dry season, it still needs water. So, but what happens in this part of the country where you have rains for about 8, 9, 10 months, or let's say 8 months, for those 4 months of drought, your plantain is still there. It's still growing, but this growth is retarded. It slows down because there's no water. But if I ask you now, that how long does it take for you to grow your plantain and harvest? Many of us will say, maybe 14 months. or more than 1 year. But the truth is, if you have irrigation on your field, in 10, 11 months, you can harvest your bunch for plantain. So if you are serious about making money, it might be expensive, but over time, you recoup that money. If you are serious about going into plantain production, if you invest in irrigation, you can improve the productivity of your farm and harvest your bunches severally, even within a year. Is that okay? So this is just an example of an irrigation system that we have installed. So next slide. Yes, another thing is sucker management. Those things coming out from like my colleague said, they come are the suckers. And these suckers are also feeding. When you are managing your field, it's always good to remove excess suckers. Now, the reason why we remove, you can see this field, everything is clustered, it's looking rough. Even to go in to do 1 or 2 activities might be difficult. Yes, because you can see everywhere is overcrowded. So in this kind of farm, you're not likely to get any good product from here. So let's see. So this is what we refer to as poor sucker management. Next. And it is not encouraged. So now if you look at this field, this is an old field. This field is about 5 years old. But what can you see? The suckers are properly managed, and you can easily see what is happening inside the farm. So this is good sucker management. Now, what do we mean by, what are you expected to do? You have a main plant, which is the plant that you're expecting a bunch from. It's the tallest plant there. So that's your main plant. And then you have, next, you have a maiden plant, which you are expecting to take over from the main plant. Meaning that when you are trying to manage your mats, the whole thing here is a mat. Yeah, when you're trying to manage your mat, you keep the main plant. I don't want to call it the mother plant because depending on your season. Now, the main plant, you maintain it, and then you keep another plant that is following it so that when you harvest this one, it can come up and produce another bunch. And then you now keep another sucker, maybe 1 or 2, not more than 2, at the base that will also take over from this one. So they are all growing and they are all feeding. Now, imagine if you have about 10 suckers here, all growing at the same time. You won't get anything from that mat. So this is why you need to manage your mat properly so that your mat can produce as you expect. So there are more than this. When we go to the field, we can show you other things. But if you are able to do all this on your plantain field, we can assure you that you're going to be smiling to the bank. So thank you very much.
A round of applause for Mr. Atemitope, yes, from the plantain breeding program. Thank you, sir, for your time. Yes, so we are about coming to the end of the 4th session now. What we just need to do is to proceed outside for our group photograph. Then we can take our tea break. Thank you. Thank you. If you are just watching us online, don't forget to add your questions. Àtàwátà wa ń bí náà, gbogbo àwọn ìbéèrè tá a ní lọ́pọ̀lọpọ̀ tá a bá dé field. Ẹ jẹ́ ká béèrè, a ní àsìkò tó pọ̀ dáadáa. Wọ́n nísìn, we'll go out to take a group photograph. Thank you for coming. Yes.